Hi, Rowena Rodriguez here from Plain Jane Project. Now, if you actually attended our purity party this season or you watched the video on our YouTube channel, you probably heard me say something like, only you know how truly wicked you are. Now, I'm going to explain that that statement. I had a girlfriend of mine I just visited with the other day, and we were catching up, and she was telling me about a date that she'd gone on. And you know, although there was a lot of really good expectations from the date, I followed up with her, and she said, you know, it was a good date, had a great time, but I don't know that it's going to go anywhere. And then she made this really bold statement, and I really appreciated just her honesty. She said, you know, I really think God just wanted to know if I could behave myself. I had to laugh at it, but it was just so honest, and I appreciated that. And I think it's really great for her just to kind of just consider that that God is, you know, trying to lead her through this new season in her life. You know, now that leads me to another conversation I was having, and now this is from a gentleman that I met at church, and you know, he was asking questions about modesty in the church. Now, you know, I live in Los Angeles. I don't know where you are, but here in Los Angeles, there's a lot of really good-looking people. You know, and so his struggle was having to do with a lot of women in the church, you know, dressing provocatively, and how difficult it is for Christian men to remain pure in thought because of so many of these Christian women dressing that way, you know. And gosh, you know, we can go any which way with this topic, but you know, I wanted to take you here. Okay, let's go to Romans 12, verse 3, and I'm pulling it from the NIV. For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. Now, going back to my girlfriend's statement, she was really just not thinking too highly of herself. She was just being sober-minded about her own weaknesses, about her own character. You know, she knew that she was going to go on this date with this gentleman who is also a Christian, so all of the wonderful expectations were there that would normally be there for a Christian relationship, but she knew in her heart that there was old patterns and old devices that she was using in past relationships, you know, that caused her to hinder in new relationships, and she was mindful of that. So she was being sober-minded about how she was going to conduct herself on this date. And she just said, you know, I think the test for me was just to see if I would behave myself. Now, what that means for some of you women, it could be that you don't put on that sexy dress on the first date. You don't walk that way that you usually walk, that you know gains the attention of the guy that you're interested in. Maybe you don't wear, you know, that dress or those shoes, or you don't do your hair that certain way that gets you a certain type of attention from men. You know, I mean, you know, only you know how truly wicked you are, and only you know how to honor God with what you have. You know, and so, and then let's take it back to the second story I told you about my friend, and now his struggle was just with modesty, and how women in the church are having trouble with you know, just remaining pure in their apparel and in fashion. Now, this strikes a chord with me because I'm in fashion, so this is something I've been kind of just pondering and kind of considering for several months. And so this is a scripture that came to mind. Romans 15:1, again, NIV. So we who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves. Now, it's so easy to, you know, look at something that's really beautiful and then look at it and keep on looking at it and start to lust after it, because that's just our human nature. Now, if you know that there are women or men at your church or in a party or at a function that you're going to be attending, and you know that only you know how truly wicked you are, and you know that you are going to do something with that image in your mind and in your heart, then you have to be sober-minded and know your weaknesses and take that up with the Lord. And it says here, we who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves. So if you know that you are strong in faith and you know that's causing you to stumble, and then someone weak in faith is walking in, clearly they're weak in faith because they're not realizing that what they're wearing or how they're conducting themselves is causing lust in other people, then you have to kind of, you know, man up to that situation and and be strong and bear with one another's, failings in their weaknesses, and that's just being sober minded, So this is just a reminder for all of you, and to myself also, that just to be sober minded and to consider the things that that you're weak in, and focus on those things, pray about those things, take that up to God, and it's okay if you're not perfect all the time. This is going to be a lifetime commitment for you, for me, for all of us. So remain faithful, give it to the Lord, and I'll be praying for you. So thanks for listening in. I look forward to talking with you again. God bless you. I'll see you again soon.